What's up? What's up, guys? What's up, guys? We are back in Orlando, Florida. We're home in the garage. I'm super burnt out on working on cars, but when stuff's broken, it's got to get fixed. And right now, both cream cars need a little TLC. On the agenda today for this car is very simple. It's getting an oil cooler. Not just a basic oil cooler setup though, but I'll show you guys that as we design it. I can't recall if I've told you guys about it or not, but the Cream Z does this weird thing where if you're kind of light on throttle and then go to give it more gas, it kind of hesitates for a second. I thought maybe it was spark plugs. Change those, I read the codes, and it's reading that it has a random misfire, which kind of doesn't really add up. So after doing a little bit of research and talking to a bunch of people that know a lot about these VQs, it sounds like the symptoms of the car is the knock sensor, which unfortunately is underneath all of this, which we already had off to do the valve cover gasket on the car. So my first plan of attack is to take all this off, do the knock sensor, do the cam sensors, and do the crank sensor. I just want to rule out everything and anything possible. I want this car to run absolutely perfect for whoever wins it. It drifts fine how it is now. If you're full throttle, you don't notice anything. It's just cruising around town. It's a little bit annoying. Now, mind you, I've never done this before, and I really don't know what order I'm supposed to take stuff off. So I'll probably make mistakes. But it's honestly more of a fun challenge just trying to figure out things as I go. You know what, guys? I'm pretty proud. This is probably like an easy thing that shouldn't be a big deal, but I only really looked up where the knock sensor was. I didn't look up like really what to take apart or anything, and it was kind of fun figuring it out. In case you don't know, the knock sensor is right down in that little valley there. I tried to make life a little bit easier by leaving the fuel rails on and leaving everything attached. I just unbolted them so I can get in there with the wrench. I just unbolted them so I could get in there with the socket. I don't know how old the O-rings are, so I didn't want to take them out. But anyway, the knock sensor is right down in there. The knock sensor is just that little guy right down there. I can just swap it out with this guy right here and should be good to go. Basically what these little guys do is they just sense weird vibrations in the engine, so they try to predict if there's detonation happening so they can retard the timing and prevent damage from happening to your motor. Very important that you have one of these that's working. It can save your motor. The weird thing is it didn't throw any codes for it, but I guess that's a common thing for these, not to really throw codes. But luckily the auto parts stores just had one in stock, and I'm gonna pop her in. I told Alberto what I was doing with the knock sensor, and he came in clutch thinking of something that I didn't even think about. But he was like, you know what? That intake gasket might kind of fall apart a little bit. And sure enough, if you look in there, it is kind of coming apart. It's kind of hard to see from this angle. So without me even asking him, he literally came over and brought one.
I have a full set.
Look at that. So we're set. Like, I would have put the whole thing back together, and then there would have been like, would it be a vacuum leak?
Yes, it would have a vacuum leak, and also I know you wouldn't have one to get the vacuum leak, so I would have to drive through the crappy traffic that's like ridiculous over here at this hour, and it would have taken about 2 more hours of work.
So what else do we have? Got the cam sensor, the crank sensor, and the manifold set. What's the top sensor? Just the other cam sensor?
Cam sensor left and right, and then crank sensor.
Things got a little bit chaotic yesterday, so unfortunately I didn't film the process of putting it back together. But the Z has new cam sensors, and that knock sensor is replaced. Still a few more things to do on that to figure out the issue. And we actually replaced the physical valve covers this time while we were in there. Last time we just replaced the gasket, and the fact I learned that it's better to replace the whole cover just in case these are kind of dried out on the old one. Oil can get in by the spark plugs.
Whoa,
okay, sorry. Alberto's eating today. His new favorite thing isn't hot chocolate, it's these Wawa, what is it, a banana shake? Is that what flavor?
Banana cream smoothie.
All right, banana cream smoothie.
With protein.
With protein.
All right, we're gonna start by setting the LC car on fire.
Okay.
And then throw it away, put this on the seat.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Dude, the SRZ, like, as lame as that sounds, that'd be super rad. As you guys can tell, I'm kind of falling in love with these a little bit. They're just so much newer and nicer than just crusty, old, loud, tin can S13.
All he does is talk about C's all the time. It's like, we should just get him all C's in here.
Dude, I think it'd be the coolest thing ever to have like a fleet of Z's, just like really basic, simple setups like the giveaway car. So that way when friends are in town, we can all just go like crash into each other like Ebisu cars. It'd be so fun.
Yeah, but if I ever get a C, it will be a less turbo powered.
Yeah, and then you won't have fun driving with us because your car will...
You don't have all that fun.
No, you're
smoking right past you.
You'll be like, my car has too much grip. It's too fast.
No, that's the problem. My tune, which I'm actually fixing already. I'm probably gonna be tuning it tomorrow on the street kind of thing.
So we got this Fandancy thing right here. I don't know if I showed it to you guys. Alberto, why do you love the external mounted oil filter so much more? Is it just because of being able to fit a bigger filter?
Well, all right, come over here. The way that your existing oil filter location is set up, you see you have to stick your hand all the way in there. Look through over here. You have to stick your hand all the way in that little hole, all the way back there to get the filter. Versus with this, I'm gonna put your filter right, wait, where's the mounting bracket? Like this. It's gonna be right here. It's right here, put your filter on, put your filter off. It drains right to nothing, so it won't drip all over the side of the block anymore, and it'll be quick access.
So instead of doing a sandwich plate for the oil cooler setup, we chose this. This is thermostatic, so in other words, it doesn't really open up to the oil cooler until we've reached a certain temperature. I don't know exactly what temperature this is set at, but it's also pretty. It's got 2 lines that run to the block, 2 lines that run to the cooler. It also has a port for the oil pressure sensor, which I'll be using once I get the standalone in. We are going to be using a small little Mishimoto oil cooler.
What side is it? Wait, yeah. It was right. It's like that, you just had it backwards to me.
Gonna be using a nice Mishimoto oil cooler. Definitely love all the stuff that they make. The radiator's been treating me very nicely, although it looks like it's seen better days. Alberto's working on figuring out a bracket to mount this, as well as a bracket to mount the external oil filter thing. Also got some pre-made lines from Mishimoto, which is gonna make things way easier. Got a couple different lengths already with fittings on them. That will save quite a bit of time. All right, so I think we all know sometimes we do sketchy stuff just to get by and drive, and I tend to do that a lot. But what I've been running my car at right now, I basically don't have the lock nut on my tie rod end. The tie rod is a little bit too long, so it's just bottomed out in there, and it's kind of sketchy because I feel like it might get loose. It hasn't, so I'm gonna replace this Maxima tie rod just with a stock one again. When I added the rack spacer, I just kind of like shortened everything up, but I didn't change the tie rod, so I'm gonna do that now. I think it's time for a rack problem shirt, guys. You know how much issues I've had with racks. I wish I was just filming this. I just pulled off the boots on the racks and just dumped a whole ton of fluid. So those seals are probably leaking. Like a lot of fluid. Like a lot of fluid. Sad Adam. I don't want to have to change my rack again. This is a rebuilt rack too. Grr. I had an annoying little exhaust rattle that I just got rid of. I just had to play with the hangers a little bit, and I ended up adding a little bit longer one here to push it down, just because it was rattling against one of the seat bolts up here and it was super annoying, but that's taken care of now. Alberto finished making the bracket. Dude, that looks really nice. So do you just kind of get in there with a wrench from like this side? Is that how you got them tight? That's really cool. That's really clever design. It looks really clean too.
Yeah, I polished this, I matched the bracket.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Look how much easier it is now to like change your filter.
Yeah, that's
I think
dope.
you can probably get chronics from the top, but I'm not sure. But now, it literally take this off and it's put a bucket underneath and it doesn't spill over the engine.
That's sick. I got really sad and discouraged when I realized that I don't have wheels to put my car on because they're getting powder coated right now. So I decided to cheer myself up a little bit. I'd just go take the other drift car for a drive. That right there is my own backyard personal version of the Minami jump. We got the wall right here. She did great. Looking a little battle scarred though from all those wall taps. Drift wheels work pretty decently on this ramp surface. Getting a little scratched up though. Alberto's listening to Taylor Swift on his own right now. Oh, you turned it off for the video. Alberto had a post earlier today where he's talking about how welding and fabricating is like arts and crafts for adults.
It was supposed to be Avril Lavigne radio, not Taylor Swift. I don't know why I switched to that.
Anyway, I think he's totally right. I wish I was a little bit more talented on the fabrication stuff, because look at this bracket that he just made off some Ace Hardware metal.
Yeah, so it's gonna fit like that.
That's so rad. And then are you gonna have like some sort of brace here to the headlight bracket or whatever it's called?
The bottom of the frame is flat. I gotta then do individual ones for the top.
That's so dope. Something that I've kind of dreaded doing, and I've just literally never done with my car, and as you can see by the marks on my cage, my door cards would basically hit my cage, and you have to slam my doors super hard or they wouldn't shut all the way. So I traced out some lines on it forever ago and never really felt like cutting it. Took it out, and the cuts actually came out somewhat decent, a little bit sketchy here. And now that I have this piece cut, I was like, you know what? I had these super clean door cards laying around in the attic. I wanted to use them for Nicole's car, but her car isn't manual windows, so that hole would just be kind of doing nothing. So you know what? Even though they'll probably get destroyed, I'm gonna use them in my car because mine have definitely seen better days, and they'll do much better in my car than they will just sitting in the attic collecting dust. After all that cutting, it still doesn't shut all the way. Because stupid me didn't realize this part actually hits too on the cage, and that's like what kind of prevents it from closing all the way. Lol. At least I got fresh looking door panels now though. I'm sorry guys, I hate ending videos where it feels like nothing's really gotten done. I did end up having a lot of fun on that live stream that we did. If you missed it, it was just some virtual reality stuff. I didn't hype it up because I didn't know how it was gonna work, and usually my live streams fail miserably, but it was a lot of fun. I'll probably do one in the future. What you guys can expect over the next couple of days. I've got some stuff for the hydro setup on the giveaway car. I've got a clutch for my black HRZ. Sounded funny, almost like one word. For my HRZ, the black 350Z. Got to finish up the oil cooler setup on my car. I think Alberto's gonna come over tomorrow, help make the last of the brackets, get to test it, make sure it doesn't leak or anything. Setup came out super, super, super nice. Definitely happy with it. And we may have some very bad news about Nicole's car. It's showing some not so good signs, and I'm hoping that it's something dumb, but I'm gonna test that tomorrow, and I will keep you guys posted. Fingers crossed, cross your fingers for me, for Nicole more than anything, because this car's just supposed to work. It's Jay-Z. Don't let us down, Jay-Z. But anyway, I thank you guys for your patience. This is not what I want to be doing. This is not what I want to be filming. But in the end of the day, I love drifting. Drifting is my #1 passion right now. And in order to drift and drive the number of events that I do, you can't get away without working on cars. So the better that these two cars run, the more fun that Nicole and I have. So I got to make it a priority. A lot of this has just been trying to iron out all the kinks so we can have a great summer, enjoy the cars, drive a ton, and make a cool video. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you tomorrow. Later.